Okay, last night I was talking about rights protected by the Constitution of the United States. I was not able to finish them. I'm going to start all over at the beginning, and I'm going to go through it. It's important that you know these. Even if you have a copy of the Constitution, many people read it and don't really understand what rights they have and what rights the Constitution and Bill of Rights actually protect. The First Amendment protects freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom to peaceably assemble, freedom to petition the government for the redress of grievances. Now, listen to me, folks. Freedom of religion means you have the right to practice whatever religion you wish as long as you don't hurt or bother anybody else. Do you understand that? Freedom of speech means that you can say anything you want to about anything you want to, anytime you want to. And if somebody doesn't like what you're saying, they should go somewhere else and not listen to you, or turn off their radio or turn off their TV set. You will never, ever shut up Howard Stern. You will never, ever make him stop saying obscene words or anything else because his freedom of speech is protected. If you try to control what he says, you are shutting yourself up too. Any control over any natural right leads to always more control until there is no remnant of that right left. So, while you may not like what the Nazi on the corner is spouting from his soapbox, you must allow him to stand on his soapbox and spout it. Even though you may not like what a Jewish person may say, you must allow that Jewish person to say it. Even though you do not like a black man who stands up and calls Whitey the devil, you must allow him to voice his opinion. If you try to control the speech of anyone, you take your own right of freedom of speech away. Freedom of the press, ladies and gentlemen, means that the person who owns the press has the freedom to print what they want, biased in any way that they want, or to omit what they want, or to slant it in a way that they want, or to just completely ignore stories if they wish. And they're the only ones who really have that freedom. The freedom of the press is given to those who own the press and to the reporters who go to report the stories. If you believe that when you pick up a newspaper or a magazine, you're getting objective reporting and they're telling you the truth, then you're living in fantasy land. Some newspapers and some magazines report the truth. All of them slant the truth toward their particular agenda. And when we produce our newspaper, it will be slanted in favor of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and freedom. And when you read it, you better know that. We will not further the agenda of socialism, communism, Marxism, or liberalism. Period. Freedom of the press, remember, exists for the owners of the press. We will report what we report factually and objectively. Freedom to peaceable assemble means that if you are peacefully assembled, the Constitution protects your right to do that. Any interference with any peaceable assembly is unconstitutional, illegal, and you have grounds to bring a lawsuit against those individuals who perform in that manner, or organizations, or governments, or city governments, or police departments, if they interfere. Now, freedom to peaceably assemble does not mean that you can block the doorway of those who are trying to go to work to earn their daily bread to feed their family. When you do that, you are then interfering with the rights of others. You cannot block the doorways to abortion clinics. Even though you believe abortion may be murder, you have the right to peaceably assemble and protest abortion in front of an abortion clinic or anywhere else for that matter. But You do not have the right to interfere with the rights of anyone else. Whether you agree with those rights or not, you have no right to interfere. Freedom to petition the government for the redress of grievances. You can petition all you want, folks. This gives you the right to petition. It does not mandate that they answer the petition, or that they agree with you, or that they even acknowledge that you gave them the petition or to act upon it. Just merely gives you the freedom to petition. Many years ago, you didn't even have that freedom. Second Amendment, right to bear arms, or guns. Thomas Jefferson once said the strongest reason for the people to retain the right to keep and bear arms is, as a last resort, to protect themselves against the tyranny of government. Now, I'm going to read you the second article in the amendment because many of you don't understand it and you argue the wrong points. A lot of you are saying you got a right to hunt, you got a right to target practice if you want, you need a weapon for self-defense. Those are all the wrong arguments. They will get you nowhere. There is only one argument, only one, for the right to keep and bear arms, and that is the right and the reason that it was intended for. Amendment 2 of the Constitution of the United States of America. A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, there are two parts to this, folks. This amendment recognizes that a well-regulated militia is absolutely necessary for the security of a free state, and it implies that a free state cannot exist without a well-regulated militia. The second part is the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Period. It doesn't give any qualifications. It doesn't give any special conditions. It states emphatically the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It's very clear. The law of most states says that all men and boys between the ages of 17 and 45 are part of the unorganized militia. The United States law, or statutes at large, state that all men and boys between 17 and 45 are part of the unorganized militia. What is the organized militia? Well, folks, that's not too clear. Some people claim it's the National Guard, some people claim it's the military. But the United States Senate, in the early 80s, passed a resolution which unanimously stated that the militia is not the National Guard, is not the United States Army, is not the Air Force, is not the Navy, is not the Marines, is not the Coast Guard, but the militia is the whole body of the people. The people. Any infringement, any regulation, any requirement of registration, any law requiring a delay of purchase, any infringement is unconstitutional and thereby null and void, ladies and gentlemen. The Third Amendment, freedom from housing soldiers without the citizens' consent. Fourth Amendment, right to be secure in your person, your house, and your personal effects. Right against unreasonable searches and seizures without a properly executed witnessed search warrant signed under oath by a judge and particularly describing the place to be searched and persons or things to be seized. If you are a police officer and you are not adhering strictly to the Fourth Amendment, then you are helping to destroy the Constitution and this nation. And in my estimation, you are part of the traitorous group, and you are committing treason whenever you do anything that subverts the Constitution of the United States of America. You are aiding and abetting the enemy. I get calls from police officers all the time telling me how they're on our side and all this baloney, and I read the newspapers and see that they're really not. You're liars. Prove it to me. do the right thing. You work for us. We are not your enemy, as you have been taught in Police Academy. We are the people, and until you became a police officer, you were also one of the people. Your mother, your father, your family, your uncles, your aunts, your grandmothers and grandfathers are part of we, the people. You'd better get your heads screwed back on straight if you're not already insane. You see, they choose police officers nowadays by a psychological profile that guarantees that they are stupid sheeple who will do what they were told without causing any problems. If you fit that bill, you better re-examine your mental attitude, and you better get back on the right side. And the right side is the side of we, the people. Fifth Amendment, right not to be held to answer for a capital or infamous crime except by a presentment or indictment by a grand jury. Right not to be tried twice for the same crime. Right not to be a witness against yourself. Right not to be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law. And why is it that people's property is being seized all over this country with no due process, without being charged? Their property is being auctioned off. Their money is being taken from them and never returned. Their land, their homes, their cars, their clothing, yes, even their children, all across this country. Right against property being taken from a citizen by the government without just compensation. Ho ho, just compensation? When has anybody ever been justly compensated for property that has been seized?